Brandis Skyhunter. And
yes,
fun archer.
Oh man,
I'll read his card
if you want to read it. Josiah, go ahead.
So Brandis Skyhunter. He has Skywatcher. If Brandis Skyhunter is attacking a non-adjacent figure that has a flying or stealth flying special power, add 2 dice to Brandis Skyhunter's attack. As well as Archer's Glory. Each time Brandis Skyhunter destroys an opponent's non-adjacent unique hero, you may take another turn with Brandis Skyhunter.
Yep.
Pretty simple powers. He hates things that fly. It's his enemy.
Yes.
Yep. He is the Sky Hunter. Yep.
Yep.
Just in case.
Half elf, just to make sure you get no synergies there.
Right.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Brandis. Brandis is dope. I like Brandis.
Brandis is a good model. I like them. I like the model. I like the aesthetic, but definitely one of those other characters that you really don't see a lot of play in because of lack of bonding. Essentially, it's Brandis works on his own. Like, I mean, that's a whole turn you have to give up just for his ability. And in terms of like tournament play and wanting to maximize the amount of moves you can take in the game, yeah, Brandis is probably not the best option for that, because that's a full turn you have to give up for him alone, and it only works if you have a flying unit you want to take out really quick.
He's like a Raylan assassin, essentially.
Yeah, a Raylan assassin. So like, you know, maybe like how much is it? 90 points. Really expensive filler, but like someone that could help with very specific scenarios that involve flying. And I think it's important to note, especially with these characters, right? The design philosophy of Heroscape changed a little bit when it transferred over to Wizard of the Coast. They were looking for a way to blend the themes of Dungeons and Dragons with Heroscape at the time, because they wanted to both promote the game, you know, because the game was kind of on its back end. They were trying to figure out a way to keep it alive. Not because
which game?
Heroscape. You know. they were trying to keep Heroscape alive, and their plan was by merging it with D&D, which is a lot more popular, that it would get more people interested. And so they introduced a lot of campaigns that were designed like a dungeon, where you have a party of people that travel and all that stuff, versus your classic Heroscape match was just 2 armies facing each other that all have unique bonding that fight each other. And Brandis is a result of that design philosophy. If you look really close, you can tell he was meant for a dungeon party experience where it's like, oh, he's on his own, he's doing his thing, he's in the, you know, he's on an adventure, whatever. He's part of the party of characters, but he's definitely not meant for an army of characters, because he's a whole turn to himself, and it's just that. There's a lot of things you could be doing other than activating Brandis Skyhunter.
Really good against Phantom Knights, so it tells you
Phantom Knight definitely. Play. If you're trying to figure out ways to counter specific flying types of enemies, this is a good one.
He'd be a good clean up mini if you could afford it, because I mean he can move. He's got 5 life, move 6 spaces, range 5 spaces, attack 3, defense 3. 90 points. So I mean, you could have him hang out in back while like your main army takes out, and then he can just pick off whatever's left. Basically clean up.
And there's ways to use him. But in like, it's just in the sense of like preparing for the optimal builds and stuff like that you want to. I wouldn't recommend him.
Right.
Like the characters work a lot better in drafting army, where you like you all go around, you pick it, and you kind of can counterplay against people. They don't work in like where things are preset.
Preset armies are not the best option for it. Exactly.
I'd like to take him up against a dragon, though. Any dragon, really.
Yeah.
Right.
And Justin's saying also Savaris exists.
Dragons, the Kyrie.
Savaris does exist.
Yeah, and Savaris. Yeah.
Let's see here. Justin's also saying half elf.
Because Savaris gets a double attack automatic, and Brandis gets a double.
Range.
Yeah, gets a double turn if he causes someone to get destroyed.
A little bit of an if. Yep. But no, Justin's also saying
you gotta be like sure that kill is gonna come in.
Justin's also saying in the comments, half elf fits the D&D lore, but should have just been an elf for gameplay purposes. Great mini though. Yeah, it is. It is a nice looking mini.
I think the play testing involved somehow decided that making him an elf would have made him more powerful than he should have been.
Sure.
For what they were planning, and so I mean it's an interesting thought because, of course, being the wiki admin, I've had to deal with this before where people have changed Brandis's stats to elf, and I'm like, look guys, like I get what you're trying to say, but that's not how they published it. We have to stick to the OG stuff, and then we can probably put in the margins if you really have to. He should be an elf. Everyone is saying this. Like we've had this discussion. There's a lot of threads on the subject. I mean, it's out there. When he first came out, trust me, everyone had something to say about him. But somehow at some point that when they were designing him, they realized that by making him an elf, it would have made him overpowered. So they chose to make him half elf, and that's why it exists. Like it's a balance intent there. So maybe his effectiveness isn't from his bonding, but from the other stuff he offers, which is the two, bonus 2 to attack, so you're hitting with 5 whenever someone has wings, things like that, and that can be really effective against some armies that don't have good defense and things like, or if you're fighting with some sentinels of Jandar that can roll a bonus defense, you get a bonus 2 attack, things like that. It's very specialized answers in terms of like counters, but like nothing I would be like, oh yeah, definitely take him to ScapeCon, I had no, I wouldn't take the Escape Con.
Well, maybe for Heroscape Adventures, he'd be a good character.
Yes, yeah, for Heroscape Adventure, you could bring Brandis. That would be a cool option.
Yeah,
take advantage of the Archer's Glory and stuff like that.
And
for sure.
Let's see here. When it comes to bonding, Aklara. That's basically it. Enough said. And let's see. Let's read the character bio. And let's. There's a little bit of character bio here. I can read it, and then Jeremy, if you want to expand on it as much as you can. Let's see here. It says Brandis is a half-elf summoned by Uller. He's adept at tracking those that use the trees to hide their advance. With his Skywatcher power, he adds 2 attack dice against flying figures, and with Archer's Glory, he takes a free turn every time he destroys a non-adjacent unique hero. So look out if your army focuses on flying figures, which is basically just talking about the stats. So,
that was pretty in depth.
Yeah,
that was real good compared to that.
Mind blown.
Lassitron's.
Mind blown.
He's good at hunting people in the trees, so he's good at fighting people that are in the air as well by proxy, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So, anything else we would know about Brandis, Jeremy?
So yeah, it's just the general sense. Like a lot of the dungeons, all of the Dungeons and Dragons units didn't get introduced into the Heroscape world. We found out where they were from, we found out what they were referencing, and that was about it. So I've always told people, if you want to get more into that information, especially as for the lore enthusiasts out there, I recommend doing a quick dig through Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition. Okay,
gotcha.
So because 4th edition was what was active when this came out, so the only lore they had at the time was the 4th edition sets, right? So like, because you might be tempted to go to 5th edition, and I know I am, but 5th edition didn't come out when Heroscape was out, so you got to like stick to the source material.
Gotcha.
And elves have always been a huge part of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, that's like elves are just fantasy trope, so that's where it comes from. And it's like, since they say they're from Toril, there's an entire society of elves in Toril, and their their interactions with mortals is what led to the half elves being introduced to society. And there's like that, it's really cool because I mean there's like a tons of like documents out there that kind of describe living a life where you're in between fae and human, and it's like you're both but neither kind of thing. It's like they don't really respect you as part of their culture, but at the same time you get to do what they do, like because you are elf as well as human. Like you're not like, the way half elves work in the lore is that they're not one or the other, they're both in full, just kind of mixed. Like they get elf powers and they have human powers, but they both activate at the same time. So it's really interesting concept. It's like anyone that plays a half elf has to work with a lot of themes of identity and like trying to fit your place in the world and things like that. And yeah, they have a whole bunch of stuff talking about that, but didn't add anything for Heroscape because
yeah,
I don't know.
I'll say that this figure doesn't get much play on my Heroscape games and on my D&D games. This figure is used constantly. He's he's my generic go-to elf, half elf ranger when someone picks it. So it's he sees a lot of play there.
Yeah, and Justin says the character bios went downhill fast with the D&D sets. Well, and Justin, that's why
they didn't make any of them.
I did Tales of Valhalla to give just our own like kind of Valhalla type of backstory to some of the D&D miniatures, aka one Karak the Elementalist was definitely one that I focused on, as well as like the Elementals, given their own like Heroscape type of vibe of story, and others. So yeah, it's definitely something that, again, Renegade probably needs to look into in the future, just to give these miniatures that were introduced some identity.
I don't know if I've said it before, but in the scope of current events, if Renegade is able to do something that like Larian Studios was able to achieve with Baldur's Gate 3, I think that would be the best option for the D&D characters of Heroscape. Like pay the license, pay the price, get that Wizard of the Coast stamp on the characters, and just be like, all right, let's finish what got never got finished. Drop a lizard folk hero, drop some arachnid squads, something like that. Please. Kind of fill out those squads that we were teased at but we never got, and then just then go back to classic. I don't think you have to rely on the D&D portion of Heroscape to make it successful. Like, you can rely on classic alone and it'll be successful on that alone. But finish off what we were like. I still want a lizard folk hero. I still want the arachnid squads that were teased, things like that. Like, that would be cool. So something that works with the drow and not just there because they are spiders. Because I don't think the fire lag was supposed to work with the drow. They don't. But they bond. They just don't really do bond well.
They were set up a Drider, I felt like, but
yeah, like there was hints that was going to be some sort of spider enemy in the future, and we just never got it. So I want to see those, at least those. I would like Renegade to pave the road to get those out, and then move away from the D&D license into the classic Heroscape with the Solborg and the Kyrie and all that stuff. So at least that's what I'm looking forward to. So
yep. Well, and we'll end this like we unless there's something else you guys want to say, but we'll kind of end this the way we been ending some of these, by saying Renegade, you got your work cut out for you.
I mean, but and like I said, it's all there. Your homework's done for you, but there's plenty of stuff to reference.
Yep, they got stuff they gotta do. But for those of you who are looking for Brandis, I mean, I know I've I've gotten a few of these off of just like Goodwill auctions or such. I mean, it can be a little like financially a little pricey, but depending on where you're getting, I mean, you should be able to pick one up fairly easy if you want to bring them on as being, again, another fun miniature to grasp on to complete your collection.
Fun to paint too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just because it is very technically nice classic, so if you're looking to get all 13 waves, Brandis is a part of it. But
for sure. All right. Well, that is looking at Brandis Skyhunter, and definitely. I know there's people who just like looking at these squads and heroes segments, so you guarantee we'll be doing more in the future.